quiet. No, no, I can't keep quiet. No, no, I can't keep quiet. No, no, I can't keep quiet. No, oh, one woman riot.
I'm fighting for racial justice, for changes in the policy and the way people perceive people of color. And as a white person, of course, it's like, why would I care? Why would I be, interested in a person of color's story or helping, change our society? But I think it goes back to that belief that we all are equal.
I stand for justice, I stand for equity, I stand for people of color being embraced and empowered and cherished and valued.
I got into activism mostly because I got tired of not seeing change. I realized at one point that it was also my responsibility to get involved, that I couldn't just wait on the sidelines and wait for other people to fight for my own rights. That me being an undocumented individual, someone who was directly affected by the broken immigration system, I needed to get involved and I needed to fight for my own rights.
Que pues no hubiera más muros ni fronteras, ¿no? Que todos tuviéramos el derecho a una libre migración, a ir a donde esté mejor para tener una mejor vida y, como te digo, y tener el derecho a estar donde tu corazón está, donde ya echaste raíces, ¿no? Que es, yo creo que el sueño de todos, ¿no? Estar donde tu corazón está.
So equal, I want equality. I want it across the board for everyone. Equal opportunity.
At this second, animals are dying, right? Just so that we could have a piece of meat. And I think that's not worth it. So, I mean, if we could still eat and be healthy, but not have to contribute to the suffering of animals, I think that that's why I became vegan, and that's why I think it's important that everybody learns about the suffering of animals, so that we don't contribute that anymore, because it's just extreme violence.
I'm fighting ignorance.
I had to re-educate myself, I would say. As a white person growing up in this country, I felt that I had learned some. I grew up in the South, so I grew up in the time when the civil rights movement was happening. I wasn't old enough to be involved directly, but I think I had a certain level of consciousness, but always improving, always learning. And so I think the initial work was for me to re-educate myself, realize the education that I thought I had gotten really wasn't adequate about the history of the United States, the history of suffering and injustice that had been done to groups of people. I think the tendency for everybody is to move towards those areas that affect us the most directly.
I'm really fighting for the liberation of women when I'm out there fighting for women's equality, for women to have control over their bodies, to be able to have abortion on demand. When we're out there fighting for, against police brutality, we're fighting for a society that isn't policed basically like almost militarily. And I'm fighting, for no more war. I mean, we're seeing Trump, we're seeing what Trump is doing, literally trying to create a war with Korea, trying to invade Venezuela, continuing the war in Afghanistan. So, I'm fighting for the liberation of the people there as well as our own liberation, because he's not the one that's going to fight these wars.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Working now with refugees and new immigrants who have arrived, fleeing their own home countries, fleeing despots and dictators and corrupt governments, and now finding themselves here in the US where they believed they were safe. It's been a year of a lot of doubt as to whether they are really safe and whether they made the right decision in fleeing to the US.
الشعب السوري ظلم كله ظلم ما في عيلة لما مات واحد واثنين وثلاثة فيها. أنا عندي أخ ابنه من جيل ابني ولا ما دفنوا. كنت شوفه بديره نزل صاروخ على بيتهم كنت شوفه بديره. شو ذنبه الولد؟ عمره 15 سنة بيته بيرك اجى صاروخ في نص البيت.
Ser activista no fue una decisión, fue una necesidad que fue surgiendo a raíz de ver todo lo que pasaba y por el miedo a estar separada un día de mis hijos y pues al fin y al cabo estoy separada de ellos, pero pues sigo luchando. Entonces sí ha habido un cambio, creo que a pesar de todo me siento más segura, más decidida a seguir luchando por lo que quiero y por lo que...
You know, it's interesting. So, of course, the election that night was devastating. And yeah, I don't think I felt like I should take action. I just felt that despair feeling. But my personality is, like, when there's a problem, I want to go and fix it.
But I love that he's in the White House, man. You know, and the reason I say that is because, as painful as it is every single day to watch the news and hear the rhetoric and just see this man embarrass the nation, as painful as that is, the truth of the matter is that he woke up a whole sector of the population that previously was just sitting on the sidelines, you know, not picking a side, you know. And since he came into office, we've seen a lot more people starting to get active.
Ever since President Trump, I don't even like to call him President Trump, but ever since he got elected, I feel like the world has shifted and completely changed, at least my world. So I had two choices, was to either stand up and fight against it or hide. So I chose to stand up.
Everything is interconnected. And so, you know, you mentioned a lot of people are getting deported, right? I think that one issue is not more important than the other one. Why can't we fight for all of these important issues?
All of these causes have purpose and passion. Every cause is worth fighting for. Rights are worth fighting for.
There really is, it's just not enough to just sit and type away at your computer about how mad you are. You need to be doing something. And, you know, I know that not everybody can show up to a protest, and it's not necessarily open to everybody. People who are differently abled and struggle with anxiety disorders, it's hard to get out there and march, and I totally understand that, but there has to be a way for us to get involved and feel like we're doing something, because it's just not enough to sit